Check, check.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to my podcast, As We Know It. And it's a podcast centered around healing, expression, conversation, and connection. So, we like to talk about various topics, and we just like to bridge the gaps of our perceptions about the world as we know it today. So, today I have our special guest, Micah D'vinci, who is a singer, songwriter, artist, performer, multifaceted instrumentalist, and so much more. My partner, my big head. So,
Tell them again, baby.
my big head. so, so thank you for being on my first live, as we know it, podcast. And
Thank you for having me.
of course, well, I'm gonna start getting warm. Okay, so this podcast episode is based around I'ma do that. So that was our conversation that you and I had, and that was based around just being self-sufficient. So I'm gonna be gazing at my notes here and there, but I'm calling it I'ma do that. Cause
Do that.
yeah,
Just
'cause
do it.
just do it, right? And that's what you always say to me. That's what you say, and what you lead by example. And then we came to the conclusion that they can't mess with you when you know. So, going off of that, I know I gave you a little mini introduction, but do you want to give a little introduction for yourself as well?
I think your intro was fire. I'm, I'm,
It
I'm
was
gonna
dope?
leave it there. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's fire.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. so, so here we're going to talk about self-sufficiency and the importance of it and our experience of it. So, my question for you, as the man who wears as many hats as you do, and the fact that you're self-taught for a lot of it, if not all of it, it's clear that you value learning, being self-sufficient. So, what has led you to be so self-sufficient, and how has it worked in your benefit up until this day?
Yeah. What's crazy about like strengths? Sometimes they come from trauma, disappointment. Sometimes they come from, a weakness.
Yeah,
You feel me?
absolutely.
That's the crazy part about it. So, what led me to be so self-sufficient is I've been disappointed so many times. I've been reliant on so many people.
Yeah.
I've been, I've required so much at some point, and I just got tired of it. And that led me to, you know what? I'm just learning myself. I'm gonna just, I used to be I was in a group in like high school. Shout out to Sarah, shout out to Leo. I was in a group in high school, and yeah, I was the producer. Never was the person on the mic.
Right.
I was always in the background. I make all the beats. I'll do a little writing here and there, but I'm on the beats. I'll play piano. If you see me on stage, I'm playing piano or something. But never vocal on the mic. That was never like my thing or my dream. Like, yeah, I want to be the biggest rap star or singer, all that stuff.
Which is crazy.
I just wanted to be in the background, and I loved it there. It was comfortable. I'm naturally shy, so that was like the perfect place for me. You know what I mean? But yeah, we graduated, and one person went to college, another person moved to like New York, and yeah, it was just me. And of course, I was still making beats, still making a bunch of music, and yeah, I just didn't have anyone to, rap on those beats, sing on those beats. I just had a bunch of beats piling up, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and that's I made my first song. You can find it everywhere right now too.
Which one is
It's called Serpents,
that? Y'all look
featuring
up
Leo.
Serpents on SoundCloud, right?
Yeah, it's on SoundCloud. OG.
Yeah. Only the
Yeah.
OG people would know about that one.
Yeah, that was my first song that like I completed and was confident enough to put out. But yeah, it all started from lacking. Like I just didn't have it, and I just got tired of it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everything that I didn't have, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna build it. Like I didn't have speakers. I literally got a bunch of different things together and built my own speakers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Literally wires from here, right, and just put it together, and somehow it worked. Dangerous as hell because it was mad wires and shit, but it
Yeah.
worked. The
Open
point
wires
is,
and stuff.
you don't sit back and pout. You know what I mean? You get to it, figure out a way. If you want to do it, you gonna find a way.
Yeah.
And that's always been my my thing. So yeah, that's what led me to be so self-sufficient and learn as many things as possible. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. That's really dope. That's a dope way to handle trauma, and unfortunately, I do think a lot of people tend to have that experience of like, okay, because you don't have something, that's what makes you want to be the one to step up and do it.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. You either lay down and die or you figure it out.
Exactly.
So
Stand up and live.
yeah, I
Yeah.
like that, stand up and live.
Yeah.
So I love that. Also, I got to witness a lot of these things. Like I got to witness the ratchet speakers from scratch, and you just make it work. You know, a lot of us got to witness it. If you part of Trip or Element, you got to see those things. And Serpents was the first song that I really. I was gonna start singing it, but I'm not gonna do that right now. But that was definitely one of the first songs that I remember finding of you online. So it's really cool to see, like from my angle, from my vantage point, watch you throughout the years just figure stuff out all the time, just
Yeah.
figuring it out, making stuff happen from the shows. You know, people don't know what they're doing, maybe technical wise, and you just,
Hmm.
even if you didn't know, you would go and figure it out and learn it there,
Yeah.
and then take that knowledge and pass it along,
Yeah.
and just keep being willing, even if the expectation was supposed to be for others to kind of do that. But again, when
Hmm.
you're lacking, it kind of makes you stronger.
Yeah.
So I think that was great. And I would say my next question would be, well, actually, I do want to, I want to come back to that one,
Hmm.
but I'll go to the next one for now, because there's more angles of that, like
Yeah.
trucking, your music, how that same question would apply. But
Yeah.
I would say the next question for now would be, has there ever been a time where you weren't so self-sufficient, and how did that impact you?
There definitely was a time when I was much younger, but I feel like it started very, very young for me.
Yeah.
Independence was introduced to me at a very, very young age,
Mm.
and not the Andy, not that type of independence. It was just like I
And-
was, I had
Shout
to
out
be. Shout out Webby, shout out Boosie. But nah, like I had to be independent. You know what I mean? It was literally, it was extreme for me.
Yeah.
It was independent or die. You know what I mean? I know that sounds extreme, but that's exactly what the reality was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I was younger, briefly, not I don't want to get into all that right now, but when I was younger, I was alone a lot. You know what I mean? So I had to, figure out a lot of different things. Food to eat. You know what I mean? Sleep, all these different type of things. Yeah, I had to literally find food. I used to climb trees, risking my life. You know what I mean? Not even think. There's no fear because I'm so hungry. There's no fear that exists. Just a mission. It's like, yo, I gotta get that up there, that fruit up there. I literally remember exhausting this tree. I took almost all the mangoes that was growing out of it. You know what I mean? All of them. There was none left. You feel me? I resorted to eating leaves at some point. You know what I mean? Like I knew which leaves taste good, which didn't taste, you know what I mean? So, like I said, sometimes your strength comes from a dark place, you know what I mean? And that's the beautiful part about healing. Healing is action.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
when you do what you have to do,
Healing is
you have
action.
literally no time to be resentful or mad at anything. You know what I mean? That should only come from when you didn't do what you have
Yeah.
to do. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like I used to truck. I used to be in trucking.
Mm.
And I had a friend that, we both spoke about doing it together. And when it was time to do it, shit happens, life happened, he wasn't able to do it. So
Right.
I had two choices. I could either sit back and wait and be mad or go do it myself, you know what I mean? And I decided to just go do it myself, you know what I mean, instead of waiting. And literally nothing was built up inside of me. I was able to help
Yeah.
even when the time came, you know what I mean? Instead of sitting back and just being mad at the world, it was because of this person why I didn't do this, and the third. You know what I mean? No, there's literally no time for that when you're doing what you have to do. I promise you. It just doesn't exist. You feel me? It doesn't
You
exist.
feel like you get over it faster too,
You know what I
because
mean?
you just get straight
There's
to
nothing
it,
to get
so-
over.
Mm.
You feel me? When you do what you got to do, there's nothing to get over. That's the thing. The trauma doesn't exist.
Mm.
You feel me? It's hard to mope when you have a good day.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? It's really hard to do that.
That's
You know what I mean? So it's just nothing is there. You know what I mean?
Terrible.
But no, that like real talk. Yeah. So that's what I learned with it. That's why I take that so seriously. You know what I mean? Self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
You feel me? Ain't nobody be mad at when I got my stuff done.
Right.
You feel me? I don't have to wait for a videographer. I don't have to wait for a producer. I don't have to wait for an engineer. I don't have to wait for this, and there's nobody to be mad at. And if I am mad at somebody, I'm mad at me because I know how to do it.
Right.
So if I didn't get it done, it's because I didn't go do it.
Yeah.
You feel me? And that I could do something with. I could solve that. I could just do something different tomorrow, but I can't change what other people do. You know what I mean? I could change what I do. So, you know what I mean? That's why I take it so seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously.
And I laughed earlier when you
Mm-hmm.
said that because I know that's something you constantly, that exact line about, you said healing is action. I think that needs to be
Yeah.
on a shirt because it really can be so, it can be so paralyzing when you sit in the opposite mindset of just thinking about, the hurt and the pain. And I've experienced it, and I experience it sometimes, Not everybody handles things the same, but one thing that everyone can do is just start doing something different,
Yep.
especially if you're doing the same thing. And that's something I've been given advice on a lot too, is like, well, if this isn't working, do something different, approach the situation different, and especially the not waiting part, because I have seen that myself too, like not waiting for everyone to want to do stuff with you has given me, you might want to do stuff in groups, like for me,
For sure.
it's been businesses, like, I
Mm-hmm.
have complained and been upset about it, but sometimes wanting to do the good things, like, exercise or, build a business and stuff, and no one was interested in that, but doing it myself, especially at those times when I was in it, I just felt, I was so much more vibrant and alive, and I felt better and I was
Mm-hmm.
healthier in result. But when I stopped that, I also seen the opposite effect,
Yeah.
and it's not a good one. It's not the best one.
Yeah.
So it definitely helps too.
Definitely. And I
Yeah.
completely understand that as well, too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? For me, what helps me with that is like the people around me inspire me so much. I also want to be inspiring. You know what I mean? And you
Mm.
can't inspire with inaction,
Mm.
period. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's what keeps me like, all right, I got to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel me? You cannot inspire with inaction. You feel
That's a
me?
good point.
Yeah, just do it. Get to it.
Just do
You
it.
just got to get to it. I promise you. It definitely is nice to be able to do things in like group and do stuff with your, you know what I mean? Driving on the truck, all I was thinking about was my people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I literally had to rewire my mind like, yo, I'm not experiencing these, I'm all over the country. I'm seeing all these different sites.
Right.
But since I'm not present, I'm like, yo, I wish this person was here, this person was there. I'm not able to experience that. So I literally had to rewire my mind to detach
Right.
from everything and like be present as much as possible. Even though ideally I would like it to be like this, I still have to allow it to be great, even though it's not like that. I have to abandon that vision, you know what I mean, to really be present, you know what I mean? It's important. Sometimes we get held back by our own vision.
Yes.
We want it to be like this, we want it to
Mhm.
be like this, you know what I mean? So we miss something greater.
Yeah.
You feel me? And what happened was, since I experienced these different things, now I know exactly where to go, and I'm able to bring my people with me. You know what I mean? I don't gotta figure it out. I know like this spot, I know this. You know what I mean? So we're able to actually
Yeah.
have a great experience instead of just, you feel me,
Mhm.
starting from ground zero. You know what I mean? So yeah, presence is being present is very important, and it helps with that. You know what I mean? It's
And
funny. It's funny how many things self sufficiency,
touches.
you know what I mean, touches an effect. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you're able to do a lot more things. You feel
Yeah.
me? Common problems don't become so common. You know what I mean? It just doesn't even cross your mind type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I like
very
that
important.
you brought up the presence because that was
Mhm.
something that, well, one, I can witness that you preach on being present a lot. That is something that is hard for me. So I know you always mention being present in the moment. A lot of times, depending on what's going on, there's times I'm very present, but there's times where I'm disassociating or just spacing out and stuff, and that can come from different things. But just recentering yourself and remembering that you are here now and that there's only now, and then that allows you to do all the other things
Yeah.
that you mentioned. So being present is definitely, that in itself can be a whole discussion, I feel like, but
Definitely.
we'll dig into that more. Um, so that was definitely, yeah. I remember what you were saying about the driving and everything, and for sure, like you said, like now there's so much more doors open just from doing it anyways, not waiting. Imagine what it would have looked like waiting those few
Yeah.
extra months, even a few months.
Mhm.
So, you touched on childhood. You actually touched on all three: childhood, trucking, music. I put that in the parentheses. So,
Be
so
prepared.
yeah,
Always.
just in case, But and then okay, so the third question would be, so how does one become self-sufficient? What does it look like for you in terms of discipline, habits, and maintaining focus, locking in and becoming the badass that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And your music and life and business, relationships and instruments, that would be a great one all around.
You got to be willing to be imperfect. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Some people don't start because
Yeah.
they want to, you know what I mean? They want overnight for it to be the best it could be. No, you have to be willing to. When I start my locks, right?
Hmm.
Um,
That's a good one.
it did not look how I wanted to look, like at all. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone was like, yo, you need to cut it. You need to do this, this, and the third. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like my lock journey is a perfect example of this. Like, it didn't look how I wanted to look. I kept comparing it to everybody else's. I kept doing this. I kept, you know what I mean? I kept doubting it. I kept, instead of being patient and taking care of it, you know what I mean? Since I'm out here looking outward and trying to compare it, I'm not taking care of it. I'm not doing the stuff that I need to do. I'm not being patient. I'm trying to rush the journey, you know what I mean?
Again, presence.
You feel me? I'm not exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying the imperfect, you know what I mean, of it, because
Mhm.
there's stuff to enjoy there too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fact that it is imperfect, you know what I mean? Which means it's unique. It's mine. You feel me? It's mine. The fact that you own it, that's what makes it valuable. You feel me? I don't own the locks on somebody else's head. Like, you know what I mean? Like I always say, I can't do nothing with the $1 million I don't have yet. But that $10 I might have in my pocket, that's gonna get me through the day. That's gonna make me survive.
Yeah.
But I can't do nothing with that. Even if I know it's coming, I can't do nothing with that. You feel me? So, like you said, presence. You know what I mean? Being present. Yeah. Abandon all those. Get off social media. Stop trying to compare yourself with social media. Stop trying to do all these different things. You know what I mean? Focus on your journey.
That
Focus on your journey. Like right now, this is for me too, because I'm trying to learn trumpet right now. And yeah, since I play all these other instruments, I'm like, yo, I want to do this in the night type thing, but it's not gonna be the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have to tell myself this all the time. You know what I mean? It's constant reminders. You know what I mean? Even though I'm saying this doesn't mean I'm perfect with this. You know, I still have my struggles as well. But yeah, just have to be present. Avoid the comparisons. Avoid other people. Just focus on your journey. Your journey. That's how you become a badass. When you so focus on your journey, and it's not to can I curse?
Well, I mean, it's your, yeah, it's like it's on streaming on
It's
yours.
nothing crazy, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
just you don't want to shit on your own journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By comparing it to somebody else's. You know what I mean? You don't wanna take away from it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to devalue yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By thinking the grass is green or water your grass. I almost cursed again. Let me not curse. Water
Yeah.
your grass. You feel me? Take care of your grass and it's going to be green as hell,
Or
bro.
your
Like,
ass is grass.
you feel me? Literally. You know what I mean? Water your grass and it's going to be green as hell.
Yeah.
I don't care what the neighbors look like. You know what I mean? You don't know if it's fake grass, this,
Yup.
you don't know.
A lot of fake grass.
It just
out
looks
there.
it just looks good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found out later on that some of the people I was comparing my locks to and wanted to look like, they were wearing weave and extensions. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
You feel me? They weren't even wearing real hair. And that's what I'm comparing it to. And that's what I'm devaluing my own stuff for.
Right.
Know what I mean? So it's just focus on it. Hey, my hair fly now. I don't care. You know what I mean?
It's very long.
And it's long
Beautiful.
and it's luscious and all that. You know what I mean? But I had to wait for it. If I cut it, I would never experience this.
Right.
You feel me? So it's just focus on you. Focus on your journey. Be patient. You know what I mean? If you think you're patient, bro, like you're probably not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just focus. Head down, focus, do what you have to do. You know what I mean? And just keep going. Keep going. Stop comparing. You will not become a badass if you compare.
Yeah.
You feel me? Because there will always be a limit.
I love the point you're making about patience because
Mhm.
I think that's probably, ooh, that thing gave me heartburn. That's probably the number. What was I saying? I got ADHD. Oh, patience.
Yeah.
So I feel like patience I like that you focused on that a lot because that's definitely, I think, one of the most difficult things. And that's for most people, that's the thing that separates a lot of the greats from the ain'ts, the ain't greats and the not there yet, or the maybe not there yet, or maybe never will be because of that.
Don't do it.
They don't do it. The mad at the world, never tried it. That doesn't work. That's a scam. Whatever type people, because the patience, because they're not willing to invest the time, the curiosity, the failure, the failing forward.
Yeah.
I would say the patience and the failure are the two top things probably that stop people from doing things. And I'm glad, I want to just harp on that because I feel like one, you're always talking about that. You always tell me about stuff with patience and just in general. And just simply a good example of that is learning an instrument, like even the engineering, like something that I've shared with even a few other engineers I've worked with, but I know I've shared it with you, is like what scared me away was the meticulousness. And I'm very like, like, so to sit still for that long and then to deal with the technical difficulties and potentials of things being lost and, you know, all those different things would stress me out and overwhelm me. Um, but looking at me now, even though I'm still just learning a lot of things that I think a lot of that time I could have learned, but I'm learning them, but that used to overwhelm me was the patience to sit there and learn it. Same with instruments. It's not that I couldn't fiddle around, I've had the keyboard, I've had the little things that I was even encouraged to learn, but because of the patience and the discipline,
Yeah.
it's not just the
That's a big one.
patience, it's the discipline to sit there and, I would do it when I felt like it and it was fun and that helped me. That did help me through my journey, but it didn't help me to master it and to really get to that next level. So coming to instruments or skills, I'm using it in that way, but it really can apply to anything. But
Mhm.
I think with people who often probably look up to you and just see like all the things you do, thinking, you know, like you just woke up and rolled over and said, "Da-da-da-da-da."
Right.
And
Right.
some of it, yeah, like I do think, that's you have the
Yeah.
gift, but you always stress like, no, it's
Yeah.
not that.
Absolutely not.
It's not that. Like
Mhm.
it's like I do feel like you're anointed in that area, but it's still, even with a gift and an
Mhm.
anointing, you still gotta have the patience and the
Yeah.
discipline. And I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it with him. I've seen it with every great person that I've been around. I've seen it with myself for the things I have done. So just to talk about that more, even with what I just said, the perception, like what would be the question? Like, do you have any comments on that? Like, as far as people's perceptions of the patients and this, where you're at now, but what it really took like off cameras,
Mhm.
like the
Um.
everyday work.
So I feel like intention matters
Mm,
for sure. Like some people do it to show
mm,
people up. Some people do it to
that's
prove
good.
something to this person. Some people do it to, what I mean, this, like it all matters with intention. You feel me?
Right.
If it's to prove
Definitely.
to somebody, you're probably gonna prove it to them. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
then you're gonna quit right after that because there's no other goal after that. There's nothing else
Right.
to do. You already meet your goal, so you have no more motivation to do it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So people always put temporary things as their goals, and that's why people stop and people quit. You know what I mean? For me, I'm always a student. I mean, I'm not trying to be the best. I'm not trying to be the only. I'm not trying to be. I'm just a kid in the room. Just love doing what he does. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing. I just love. My goal is I just love it. There is no. I love it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So even if 0 people are watching or 100,000 people are watching, I have the same passion. I have the
Right.
same drive. I have the same love for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing more than that. It's not for numbers. A stream don't make me like the song more. Like no,
Right.
no. Like it's just I love to do this. You feel me?
Okay.
To be honest, I don't make music for my fans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I mean, I make music and I like the song, and I'll drop it because I like it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not because people like it and they're saying that. No, I like the song.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't like it, you probably won't hear it. That's why I have 33,000 files in my hard drive. You know what I mean? You feel me? So, um, yeah. Not saying I don't like those 33,000 files, but
Mm-hmm.
you
Right.
know,
Right.
um,
But
yeah.
yeah.
It's based on what I think about it. You know what I mean? And that goes to everything about me. Like
Mm-hmm.
what I think about me is what
Is the
stays with me. You know what I mean? You
mm-hmm.
feel me? So everything is like a grain of salt. Even compliments, it's a grain of salt. You know what I mean? Just like you
The
feel me?
insults.
You
Mm-hmm.
cannot allow anything to become your God in a way to
Mm-hmm.
worship. Oh, people are being nice. So that's the, no,
Mm-hmm.
like how I feel about myself is, you know what I mean, how my day is going to go,
Right.
regardless of what anybody else is doing. But yeah, with that being said, with the patience, I feel like patience breeds discipline as
Mm-hmm.
well. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Some people focus too much on the end result,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what distracts them
Yeah.
because they're like, they want it to be like this,
Yeah.
but it's not like that yet. So now it's not good enough. Feel me? Now it's it's a loss because I'm so far away from so and so. You know what I mean? You have to focus on the journey. You know what I mean? You have to focus on the journey. That's what matters. Just like my hair. Once again, I go back to my
Right.
hair. I had to focus on the journey. You know what I mean? I wanted my hair to be this long so much I didn't enjoy when it was up here.
Right. And it
You
was
feel
so
me?
fire at
And
the
now I'm
end.
like, yo, when it was up here, that shit, it was
Right.
crazy. I like my hair like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I wasn't able to enjoy it in the moment because I was never present with it. I wanted it to be this. I
Right.
wanted it to be this. No, be present. Focus on where you're at. Focus on the journey. You know what I mean? And that's what keeps you going. You know what I mean? Because now you could enjoy. You know what I mean? Now you could enjoy it. You
Right.
can't enjoy something that's not what you want it to be. You
That's
feel me?
huge.
You get entitled, you get this, you get all these different feelings, you know what I mean? No, like, enjoy where you're at. If you learn a new song, bask in that.
Yeah.
You feel me? This is for people that's playing, like, starting the instrument. You learned a song on the instrument,
Yeah.
bask in that. You know what I
Celebrate
mean?
the small things.
Celebrate that,
Yeah.
and that's going to lead you to, let me learn something else. You feel me? Bask in that.
Right.
Don't you ever compare your journey to anybody else. You know what I mean? Like, I've been doing this for 20 years. If you've been playing for a week, don't you dare compare yourself to me. You know what I mean? Don't do that. I've been playing for 20 years. You feel me? Don't compare yourself to somebody that's been doing it for 50 years
Yeah.
when you just started. Focus on your journey. Don't compare it to nobody. You feel me? And same with me. I've been playing for 20 years. I'm not going to compare my journey to somebody that's been playing for all this time. You know what I mean? That's been playing since the 70s. You know what I mean? No. You feel me? I'm going to look at that and just be inspired to get better and better. I'm going to focus and get better and better and better. You know what I mean? So that when I reach 40 years of playing, you feel me? Somebody might feel that way about me. You know what I mean? Be inspired by that. Like, it's always me versus me, just getting better and better and better and better. Not better than anybody else. You know what I mean? I don't care what the neighbors are doing. I don't care what nobody's doing. You feel me? I don't care. It's me. It's me versus me, and that's what keeps me. That's what keeps me disciplined. Like, some of these things you don't have to even try to do when you focus on the right things. You know what I mean? It's hard to. It's hard to. When you love something, it's hard not to be disciplined. It's not something that you have to try to do. When you practice, it's hard not to be confident. You know what I mean? It's just, it goes hand in hand. You feel me? It's a lot of just everything feeds each other. You know what I mean? With focus. You feel me?
Speaking on focus, and I love that you hit so many good points, and I love that these are conversations we've had like many times off camera.
Yeah,
So
it's
just
like
fun
we're just
to,
revising.
we're just doing
like
a summary of everything, but it's good because I've been writing notes on like anyone, doesn't matter who it is, like, but from this man, from my parents, from different people in my life that are very, very, very close, like, I will write notes if I feel like you've said something like that can help in life, you know, or even if it's just cool, I'll just write it down and I'll quote it, you know, and it's something that I can like look back at and remember. So I appreciate you being here again, you know,
Thank you
and
for
sharing
having me.
your gems with everyone as well, you know, and so I do have more, but just I do have more. I just felt like that was something I wanted to say.
No, thank you for having me.
Yes, of course.
It's an honor to be on your. Was it the first
Aw,
episode?
Thank you. Yeah, this is actually
Yeah.
first live.
visual.
Yeah, first live visual live stream, because we have, so this podcast, quick commercial break. This podcast has been around for. Daryl, sorry. Every time you look at me like that makes me laugh. But this podcast idea has been birthed years ago. But as far as really, you know, like, I have several recorded convos and things I would have to edit and all that good stuff. But as far as putting it out, this one is probably going to beat the the one that I was going to call episode 1, but that could still be the first audio episode. But this is the first live episode. So it's kind of the first episode.
Yeah, episode 1.
Yeah, episode 1. So I'll just edit the other one and say it's whatever episode it ends up being. But yeah, this is definitely an awesome start to As We Know It. So I'm going to get that globe at the end and play with that and make that a thing. Yeah, because I was looking at it as we were talking.
Put it up front or something.
Yeah.
I
I won't make
do
you
now,
get
you
it now.
good.
Yeah,
I
I'll
got
get it
it now.
at the end. We'll just like volleyball it to each other. Focus. So back to the back to the convo. You mentioned focus, and that was something that stuck out to me when I wrote that question too. Was like, pretty much, you know, this is a little off script, but like, when it comes to focus, because you can love something, but you might not have the discipline or the focus of like things when how do you basically maintain your focus? Like what is your go-tos for I guess I'm skipping to the tips and tricks to be more self-sufficient person,
Gotcha.
and words of encouragement would be what I'm kind of skipping
I
to for
gotcha.
like when life happens, situations happen, things could really take your attention or your heart. I
Mhm.
talk to you a lot about going through things like depression, and even if it's not as deep as that,
Mhm.
it could be just simply life could just
No, I got
distract
you.
you. How do you
So
stay focused?
so pretty much you have to separate. Like when I say love, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
talking about a feeling. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Discipline don't come from feeling good. You know what I mean? Because you won't feel good all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline comes from doing it even if you don't feel so good today. You know what I mean?
Right.
Love is an action. You know what I mean? It's an action. It's not an emotion. It's not a feeling. Of course, it's great to
Mm-hmm.
feel good doing it. You know what I mean? But you have to be willing to do it while you're not
No
feeling
matter
good.
what.
That's what discipline is. That's what love is. You
Right.
know what I mean? Love is not just when it feels good. That's not real love. That's situational. That's, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Based on circumstance. So I'm gonna be no, like,
Right.
no. It's love regardless of what the weather is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? When I'm practicing, I practice every day for what 10 months when I started TikTok. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Every single day.
I was there.
There wasn't a day that passed I didn't play. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? More than half of those times I didn't. It wasn't like, yo, I'm inspired to play and no. I just
Right.
knew where I wanted to go. That's it. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, half the lives I lost my uncle and I went on live. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I didn't feel good. You know what I mean? I didn't feel good. You feel me? But I had a mission. I had a mission, and I had to keep going. You feel me? I had to keep going. You feel me? Even if I had to cry real quick off screen, I had to cry or whatever. I had to keep going. I had to show up. You know what I mean? Because the mission is bigger than me. I mean, it's bigger than me. So I just had to keep going. You know what I mean? So it's more than you have to detach the emotion from it. If you want to be great, you have to detach the emotion from it. I'm not saying the emotion is not important. It's very important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it become legendary, you have to detach the emotion from it. You know what I mean? Because that could be the thing that stops you from, you know what I mean, breaking that threshold, from, kicking that door down.
Right.
You feel me? Something has to be bigger than you.
Right.
You feel me? Anyone that's considered legendary, you know what I mean? They had to do it regardless of what's going on. They had to do it while the world hated them. They had to do it
Right.
while
Right.
no one understood. They had to do it
Yeah.
while being rejected. They had to do it while, you know what I mean? Imagine if Kanye quit because everyone rejected him. Imagine if Jay-Z quit because everyone rejected him. You know what I mean? Imagine if Andre quit because everyone rejected him. Imagine
Our
it, you know what I mean?
favorites.
Just imagine that.
Yeah.
You feel me? Imagine Michael Jackson. Everybody. Anybody you could be like, oh, that's a legend.
Right.
They had to go through adversity. They had to do it
Exactly.
while being, you know what I mean? They had to do it still. They had to do it. You feel me? If they succumb to their emotion, they would not be that.
Right.
Period. You know what I mean? Like I say, emotion is very, very important. It needs to be dealt with.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it cannot be God.
Right.
You feel me?
Exactly.
It cannot determine your fate. I feel bad today, so
Right.
I'm not gonna do it. No, like you still have to be willing.
Right.
You feel me? Willingness does not. It doesn't matter the weather.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? It doesn't matter the weather. I'm not saying difficulty is not a conversation. I mean, I'm not saying it's not gonna be hard. You know what I mean? Of course it's hard. You know what I mean? Life is hard. Even if everything goes right, life is hard.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? You still gonna be in traffic. You still gonna be in. You know what I mean? Shit's still gonna happen. You feel me? But you still have to be willing. You know that there's traffic at 4 o'clock in Poinciana on I-4. But you still got to be willing to get in the car and drive, knowing that you might be stuck for like 2 hours. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You still got to do it because you still got to get there. You know what I mean? If every time there's traffic you're like, I'm not going, nothing gets done.
Yeah.
You feel me? You can't get to work, you can't do this, nothing gets done. You get fired. That's just how it is. So you have to be willing to sit in traffic. You know what I mean? You have to be. You feel me? If you want to be great in any way, you have to be willing. You feel me? Because I promise you, and this goes to everybody, when you're 90 years old on your deathbed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What you gonna say?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it, so that's why I have regrets my entire
Regrets.
life.
Regrets.
You know what I mean? No, you're not gonna remember. You're not even gonna remember why you didn't do it. You're just gonna remember that I didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? You're not gonna remember why. That's not gonna matter 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You feel me? Oh, I was tired that day, so that's why I didn't go. No, you're not gonna remember that. You're just gonna be like, damn, why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
You feel me?
And that's a
You don't want
terrifying
temporary things to be your God. You know what I mean? And that's why I as much as I can. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect.
thought.
You know what I mean? But as much as I can, I show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just keep showing up as much as possible. It's important. You know what I mean? You never know whose life you're saving just by showing up. You know
That
what I mean?
part.
You never know. And that's why I said it has to be bigger than you.
Yeah.
If you're the biggest thing in the room, if that's what it, you're not gonna do it. I promise you, because you're gonna have your days where it's like, I don't feel like doing it. So
Right.
there has to be something more important than you. I mean, having a purpose is almost like having a kid. You
Right.
feel me? When you have a kid, you're gonna make sure that kid eats.
Mhm.
Feel me? Even if it means you have to go through the snow, go through
Mhm.
this, go through hell, just to get to work to make sure you provide for him. That's the same thing as having a purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't wait until you get the kid to get a purpose.
Mm.
You feel me? Because you need to teach your kid how to have a purpose too. You feel
Sorry,
me?
I swear I keep hearing
You
things.
got you got to teach your kid how to have a purpose as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to make sure that you're moving that way so you can pass that down as
Right.
well, and they could pass that down. You know what I mean? And build a legacy. Legacy doesn't end with you.
Right.
No.
Definitely
You
not.
feel me? The legacy is after you. So you want to make sure that you're leaving something.
Right.
You feel me? And if your decision is based on the weather, there's nothing to leave.
Mhm.
You feel me? So there has
Ooh.
to be something bigger.
Bars. There's nothing to leave.
But
Don't look at me like that. Listen,
yeah,
don't judge me.
but nah, there has to be something bigger than you. There has to
Yeah.
be something bigger than you. You know what I mean? See my little sister happy, see my little sister smile, see my little sister, you know what I mean, shine.
Yeah.
That's more important to me than me having a bad day right now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's just more important to me. I mean, I'm not saying neglect yourself and don't care about yourself.
Right.
And no, you
Right.
taking care of yourself. You know what I mean? I'm just saying make sure that you're getting stuff done. You feel me? Make sure you're getting stuff done. There's healthy ways to do it.
Yeah.
You feel me?
So real quick, and I love
Mhm.
that, and that's you hit like so many different things that's perfect, all of it to really pay attention to, run it back, rewind it. You got to rewind, and just watch the points, watch the points that help because everything you said is very is sufficient to help in life really and self-sufficiency, every topic of life. And I think for me, one thing I like that you mentioned was the idols, the gods, because I say that to you a lot, like it's just like keeping the wrong thing, putting really anything as God always backfires. Trust me, I know. I have learned the hard way, and that's a lot of us have. A lot of us have made gods out of things that aren't God, and nothing could ever do it. No matter what you believe, you call it whatever you want, but when you just so fixated on something that is not God, you're just gonna you're just gonna fumble all around. And I think like you still it goes back to having your why. Like like what is your God given purpose? What is your why? What is it about you that makes you want to do it, even when the love, the action part, like it not just being the feeling, but like, man, I want to go do this when I'm angry. I want to go do this when I'm sad. I am willing to learn the business. Maybe a lot of us struggle with that. We love the art. We don't want to do the business. There's so
Mhm.
many layers to all of this stuff. So um, that was a big point. Just like anything, I just felt like saying that, like anything being God is just not
Yeah.
good because that is it's just a recipe for disaster. And I've always been told that throughout my whole life, but like experiencing it is a different. Like, there's levels to experiencing it. You can sometimes have things. We all have like little things. Sometimes we make idols out of stuff, but when you put something in that position, it's never gonna feed you the way God feeds you.
Exactly.
And that's not why He put you here. So when you know your why, it helps you to get to more of your divinity. When you helps you be closer when you're working in your purpose, even if you don't know it yet. Just doing what you're called to do, doing what you feel like is helping others, even if it's what you do love, like it's whatever is actually doing something bigger than you,
Mhm.
the legacy, everything, and the will. Talking about willpower because I was just talking to my mom about that and just saying like, where there's a will, there's a way. There's so many sayings to everything we said that
Mhm.
are said and we hear them and it sounds cliche, but it's so true. It's like when you're willing enough, it'll help you learn even if you struggle with focus. Like I struggle with focus, but when I'm willing enough, I'll find a way to wire my brain to help me focus enough to get it done, even if I have to start over 100 times to do the same simple. It could be a simple task for someone else, but just because of how my brain is, I don't know if I have ADHD or not, but it can be hard to focus on the task and get it done at times.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm wired in, and sometimes I'm just like, I start and I'm making something crazy and it's 10,000 things. So the focus, the will for the greater purpose, is what the why, the legacy, the bigger thing is what makes you have the will to focus, to put yourself in
Hmm.
position to actually learn how to do it. So I just pretty much repeated what you
You good?
said, but I just felt like saying that because those things I've been talking about in real time lately, and it's just like,
Hmm.
you know, we all have to learn. Sometimes we learn harder than other times,
Yeah.
because we either decide to do something different or we don't.
Yeah.
But, if you're willing and if you have a reason that is strong enough, like you said, seeing your sister smile, I know you heard me talk about like same thing, like seeing, being able to give back one day, hopefully, well, no, not hopefully,
Yeah.
one day when we give back to our families, like
When? Yep.
when we do, like with my little brother, like he's just my heart, but I
Hmm.
really love my whole family. It's just certain things that like you want to see them smile, you want to know that the people coming after us don't have to deal with the same things. So, um, I think before dealing with certain, like adulting, there were certain things that felt a lot more, it was so much easier to just picture things without any interruption, I guess, or like it seemed, a lot of things seem more possible. And when you, as you do go through some hardships and certain things, it can affect you to where you got to keep rewiring your brain to realize, no, it's still possible. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I might just be going through stuff, I might be going through life, but it doesn't mean that it's any less possible than when I was younger and had this vivid,
Yeah.
bright imagination, like to just see everything and not have the inconvenience of real life problems to make us, to make us want to stop or something. So, will, where there's a will, there's a way. And like you said, balance, you can't, a lot of these greats that we do love, like these celebrities and different people we know, a lot of, I mean, when you get to a certain height, we don't know, it's only when you're there you would know what that entails. But a lot of times we've seen things like, mental health. Those are other topics I'll get into soon, but like things getting neglected, like not saying neglect your emotions, not saying neglect your needs, not saying just, let it be so much. Don't let your, again, nothing being a god, even your craft, even what you love, even
Hmm.
all those things, because it can, and it can also kill you in the long run too. You don't want to lose your mind.
Hmm.
Some people lose their mind along the way. It's life we live in, but hopefully, if it's in your purpose, it comes back to a bigger purpose of love and health and
Yeah.
wellness. And there's healthy ways, like you said. There
For
are some
sure.
things you got to thug it out,
Yeah.
but in seasons for that, but you got to have some level of balance because you
Yeah.
don't want to snap.
Yep.
And, I think everyone has to snap at some point, but I
Yep.
feel like the level of snap, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. I kind of want to add to that as well.
yeah.
Don't overdiagnose yourself.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Imagine if God came to you personally and was like, "This is your mission."
Mm.
Like He tells you exactly, like, "This
Oh.
is your mission." Like personally, like He revealed Himself.
Mm.
This is your mission.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Think about it that way. Like, would you have excuses to not do it?
Mm.
You feel me? Like, what would be big enough to not do what God just said to do?
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's how kind of, like, it's extreme, but like that's kind of, you feel me? That's how I look at purpose. There's a purpose here.
Mm.
You feel me? Is there something gonna be bigger than that?
Mm.
Is my off day gonna be bigger than this purpose? Is my this? You know what I mean? What? You feel me? There can't be anything bigger than that. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Just like there can't be anything bigger than God.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? And that's what kind of keeps like focus in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And back to the, not over, diagnosing yourself.
Mm.
You create excuses for yourself when you do that.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
That's
I didn't do this because I have ADHD.
good. Right.
I didn't do this because I'm shy. I didn't do this because and now it justifies
Mm.
inaction.
Right.
You feel me? I grew up very shy. I used to cry when people look at me.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Now I'm on stage, some miraculously. I don't know. You know what I mean? It was an action. Like, it literally was an action. It was a terrifying action.
Right.
It was scary as hell, but I didn't die.
Right.
You feel me? In my head, when I was growing, I was gonna die if I'm in that position. But I didn't die. You feel me? That was just my perception. That was just my mind telling me the worst thing it could tell me. My brain trying to protect itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? The brain's job is literally just to keep you alive, not to make you feel good, not to make you distant. You know what I mean? It's literally just to keep you alive, keep you here. You feel me? That's why it shuts down when there's smoke in the room. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's literally just to keep you alive. So, yeah. Yes, it's back to actions. Back to actions. You know what I mean? Just do it different next time. It's okay if you fail today. You know what I mean? But it's not because, oh, I have this problem.
Ailment
I
or
have this ailment. I have this
limitations.
limitation. This no. You feel me? There's no difference between you and the next person that's doing it,
Right.
besides the fact that they're doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So literally just change that one part, and everything else will change.
Right.
You know what I mean? Make it important, really important. It will change the result of everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I want to give a quick. I said
Mm.
this before, but
Mm.
even though it's not my quote, this is from Purnell, a musician that I knew like a few years back from Orlando.
Mm.
Shout out to you, music and meditation. But it's just because he said attention to detail and high definition. That was his acronym for ADHD, and I thought that was so great because it was like that always stuck with me for years. I was just like, a lot of people even are told to be limited for their, you know, ailments or limitations, things people try to tell them are wrong with them when really and truly, like, I love that perception of it because a lot of times I notice I'm like, I do, like, sometimes I'm just super tuned into the details. It's not that I'm, not doing anything good or productive, but it's just like, you know, just finding a way to manage it
Yep.
and to use it as a superpower versus an ailment.
For sure.
So I just wanted to say that
Exactly.
quick little,
Nah, it's real.
tidbit.
Dame said something. Dame Dash said something similar to that as well. You know what I mean? You absolutely can focus. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Right.
You just focus on the stuff that you like to focus on. You know what I mean? Like in school,
Right.
I don't like. What was it? I love science, but what's the other subject?
Math, reading,
Math I loved, but like reading or something. You know what I mean?
language arts.
Language arts, though, like American history. American history. So
Oh,
like
boring.
math, I was on point. I was 10. Like I always had straight A's in math. Right? I
Yeah.
mean, math is my thing. You feel me? Don't ask me nothing right now though. But math was my thing in school.
Yeah.
But like when it came to American history and like all those like other
with you.
stuff,
Yep. 100%.
I couldn't focus for the life of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Fell asleep in
And
class every day.
for a while, I'm like, dang, I can't focus. It's just what's wrong with me? Nothing's
Yeah.
wrong with me. I just don't like that.
Right.
You feel me? I just simply didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's not a lack of focus thing. It's just you have to. It's placement.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like everyone has a unique way of learning.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Everyone the same way people have a unique way of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a unique way of learning. So you have to find how you learn. You know what I mean? Maybe you're a visual learner.
Right.
Maybe you're a you know what I mean? You have to find your way, and that's how you're like, oh wait, I don't have ADHD.
Right.
You feel me? I just don't
Learn the same.
learn
way.
the same way as you
Right.
feel me. So
And that's what.
no, I don't think any of these things really are ailments. You know what I mean? When if they're placed in the right place, you know what I mean? If they're put in the right position, you feel me? Your flaws could be your strength. You know what I mean? Same thing like I started saying, like these strength and self sufficiency came from a dark place. It came from
Right.
disappointment. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It just got placed in the right place. Because I could have just been traumatized and just in the corner and just, you know what I mean? But no, put it in the right position, the right place, it becomes a strength. Doing the same exact thing, like,
Right.
became a strength.
And it takes to piggyback off of that. It takes a muscle to do that. It's just continue exposing yourself. It's not that the journey was, like, again, the journey is going to
Yeah.
be up and down, but it's not like you just hopped in and it's like, and sometimes that will happen where you'll surprise yourself and it's like, whoa, I should have done this a long time ago because I'm badass. Like, I can do this. But there's times where it takes time to build that muscle
Yeah.
of, being used to, just creating that strength for yourself.
Yeah, like the
And
patience.
I've heard so many, how you mentioned Dame, but also with Rocky when she was explaining the different ways of learning and like her experience sounded so similar to Purnell, sounded so similar to other people that I've spoken to, where they're like literally people, like down to them, like the systems, the school systems, that all different systems, literally putting them in, trying to put them in classes or make them feel a certain way about their literal brain, when really and truly it was just a different way of learning. And I think it's just beautiful because it's so much stuff I don't know. I feel like for me, I've been exposed to certain people and ways of thinking and conversations, thankfully, that were more out of the box, where it was like those pieces can kind of get put together sooner, because now it's like groundbreaking news, scientists discovered, when it's really like, I don't think that's really, new. I think that's something that they didn't want you to know. So they just try to, box people in and make it easy, try to put it in a one size fits all thing. But that's
Yeah.
not how we as humans are even wired in the first place. We're all very unique. We're all very different. So I like that you brought that up too, because that was something that made me think also of that quote
Yeah.
and just of that way of,
Mhm.
thinking. So I would say the next, I have like two more questions and then a cool little segment that I want to try with you.
Let's get it.
So the next question would be, how have your expectations changed in yourself and others as your self sufficiency became stronger?
One more time. Make sure I
How
get it.
has your how has your expectations changed within yourself and towards others as far as your self sufficiency improved?
I think I feel like it did the total opposite. My expectation went down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For anyone. Like I have no expectations of anyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I just get to it. I don't know. It did the total opposite effect for me.
Yeah.
The more self sufficient I became,
So less
the
you.
less it mattered what anyone else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that attracted me to people that are doing stuff. You know what I mean? People that are doing stuff started coming around. I stopped having to look for anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like most of the stuff that's happening now happened from my room. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to go out to, you know what I mean? It just started happening because that's who I became. You feel me? So yeah, people like that started coming around and it was just seamless. Whereas before it just felt like I was doing too much or trying too hard, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just, yeah, it got easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You stop looking and all these people just exactly what you need pop up. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, the expectation went way down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one, I feel like it's not that that it's obvious, but I still feel like I should ask because
Hmm.
I feel like that's important. Like,
For sure.
because a lot of times, a lot of people aren't aware that they are expecting a lot of
Hmm.
their environments or situations,
Hmm.
of the people they care about, of even within yourself. Like when you're not as sufficient in something or not
Hmm.
as trained in something, you may not know. How your expectations will be different versus when you are.
Yeah.
You can't do something you don't know, so you
For
gotta
sure.
like you gotta change
I'll,
some again. Something has to
yeah.
change. So.
I'll say this.
Mhm.
As far as expectations, the only expectations I have, I guess, is if somebody asks me for help and I give it to them, I expect them to use it.
That's,
I'll say that.
that's a good one.
Like I expect them to, feel me? Because if you don't ask me, I'm not gonna. There's nothing for me to expect. You know, if you don't apply to a job, I don't expect you to pull up and clock in. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you apply to the job, you say you want to do this, you want to do this. I expect you to pull up and clock in and do your job. That's it.
Right.
That's the only expectation. I mean, your word. That's the only expectation I have.
That's a good one.
You know what I mean?
And your word is, they say your word is bond. So,
Yeah.
that's definitely,
For sure.
definitely an area,
For sure.
follow
We
through
all
is
we all
important.
we all could, you know what I mean, increase in that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was just we're humans, bro.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
allowing yourself to be human is
Yeah.
a huge part of trusting the process, because if
Yes.
you try to be a robot, which you are not, you will malfunction and
Mhm.
explode. So to not
Yeah.
explode, the last question.
No overdiagnosis, man.
Right.
We humans trying to figure this out. Nobody got to figure it out.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
think that's a word of encouragement as well.
Mhm.
And the last question that I do have is, what's the funniest or wild? Actually, well, it's two things.
Mhm.
So, what's the funniest or wildest way someone has tried to play you? Because we said, okay, to
Mhm.
preface this, they can't mess with you when you know. So, I'll give a quick tidbit. When I was, I gave Mike the whole story the other day, so I'll just suppress it into a smaller summary. But basically, when I was doing hair more often, I learned how to braid hair outside of the salon. I worked in a salon for like 2 years on and off. But basically, um, this was when I was a lot younger and I was like more in training. I was like in cosmetology school. But the thing is, I had learned on my own how to braid hair and how to treat natural hair, because I have natural hair, and I have a mom who is very loving and embracing natural beauty and teaching me how to properly care for my hair. So for many years, from youth till adulthood, there wasn't a lot of girls like me with a fro. I was like the only person in my high school with an afro at one point. Like literally, I would have my curly fro, and everyone would stop and want to touch it or ask me questions. A lot of people had relaxers. So just people touching their hair, basically what I'm saying is, it's understanding. I guess I can understand why these situations would happen. So pretty much a younger girl, she basically had her edges were like out, like they were like bald, about bald, and her hair was very short and crazy, and you could tell that they didn't really know how to upkeep her natural hair. I don't know that the mother, I can't remember right now if she had textured hair, if she had relaxed her, or what she had done with her hair, but I know that they didn't know how to upkeep the daughter's hair. And they thought because I was still in school, so she's an esthetician. So I just thought it was funny because I helped nurse her daughter's hair to health. I was going to her house at this time. At this time, I charged way, way. I charged way under, way. I charged way under what my worth was and what I should be charging. And I'm okay with working with people, especially at the time. But I was traveling to their house. So for what I was getting paid and barely asking for, it was like I was super undercharging myself, basically. And it started to interfere. The level of work I was doing, it started to not really make any sense because I still had to be at school. I still had to work. I had to do a lot of different things. So yeah, it was just kind of like, the prices. She was haggling with me about prices, and trying to do like trade for trade. Like I can first questioning a lot of my prices, and trying to make it seem like I was being unethical for the prices I was charging because I started with a price and I did start to raise it because I was way like this is like in the, and, people be like so and so can do it for. Go find Nene up the street and let her do it for you. Do not
Go
disrespect
find
somebody.
Nene.
Yeah, go find whoever up the street. And no offense to any Nenes, just saying like, go if you talking about being in the hood, you doing this, you doing that. Like, go to that and get that service and get that level. And if you find someone who can give you a plus 110%, dope. Like, kudos to them for dirt cheap for almost free. Kudos to them. But I think if you have a business, it's not fair to do that to somebody, especially when they're putting. I would put hours, like 7, 8, 10 hours, in this hair to work with what I had, because the style they would want, the size they would want, even down to taking some stuff out and making it smaller. Because my small and their small was different perceptions, but people will milk you as much as you let them, pretty much. So, and that goes for everything. So it was just an interesting experience because it was like her edges was coming out. And as I was doing her hair, it started to be nursed back to health. Her edges were going back in. It was starting to make sense. I was educating them on how to do it. And I was happy to. I was enjoying the process. I really thought it was dope. But what got me, so down to the they can't mess with you when you know, that comes about to the education, the self-sufficiency, the knowing better. Once the more you know, the less people can mess with you. They can't mess with your pockets as much. They can't mess with your spirit as much. They can't mess with your mind. And of course, a lot of things, you're a human being, so you're going to go through your phases. You got to work to strengthen those muscles too. And trust me, like I'm on my own journey, but at the time I was a lot less aggressive when it came to protecting my worth and my value. And I think that's hard for a lot of people who genuinely love helping people and love what they do too. You might not want to mess with the pricing and stuff like that too much, but sometimes you got to. You should want to make sure it's at least at minimum what you're worth, what the service is worth, and then you can work with people around that. But you shouldn't be undermining yourself like that. And I think she tried to play me because she's an esthetician, and with what I don't know what it is today, but I know that at the time she would tell me how much she was charging for like an hour's worth of work. This lady charged twice or three times as much as I did for an hour's worth of work, which didn't cause her fingers to bleed like mine were for hours. That didn't cause, yeah, my little skin would be peeling off and bleeding because the hair technology wasn't the same. If you're a hair braider, I would use like Kinecolon, like of course, people want to buy the cheapest hair because they don't want to spend so much money on hair. Now they have a lot of like pre-stretched hair, so you're not having to pull apart everything as much, and if you are, it's not damaging your skin and your cuticles as much. But it used to be a pain. Sometimes it could become a painful process how long it would take, and then they want the biggest jobs. So it was just kind of crazy because she was trying to make me feel bad about me giving her a real price that was still decent, still was less than what some people would charge, but I was trying to make it make sense for me but still work with her. And because I had stopped traveling to the house, I was like, you're gonna have to start coming here or you're gonna have to pay for gas too. And then it was like, okay, so they started coming. but it was so undermined. They wanted to change the size, make it longer, da 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 da. So it was like, okay, well, you're gonna pay for that. I'll work with you, but again, you have to pay for what you're asking for. 7 hours of work and what I was charging, and then she tried to make me feel like I was doing it wrong because I was charging that. And it's like, you don't think I know better? Like, I know the industry you're in. One, she was telling me some of it, but I know more because I was in that. I was in the training. That's not the same. Cosmetology covers everything. It covers like hair, skin, nails, just a plethora, makeup, a lot of different stuff, but it gives you like the basics of each thing. And it's mostly hair and, you know, more of like the sanitary practices and stuff like that. Like that's more in there. And then, like estheticians is more skincare and things like that. So what she was showing, it was just kind of like, I know what they charge. You do an hour of work and you get way more than me, but you're complaining for me doing a 7 hour, 10 hour, even if it was 4 or 3 hours, it's still a lot more work than what you're doing. And you should know because you're also in the beauty industry. So even if you're not per se a hairstylist, you know what it would cost you if you went to a salon. You know what I'm saying? I'm very big on work with people because I haven't always had it. I've been blessed that I've had so much things with resources and help. So I'm not talking ish about like people who may not have it, or if you're just trying to find something reasonable. I know some people are crazy. They'll try to charge you way out of pocket. But again, once you know, you know. Sometimes that just means learn how to do it yourself. That's what I would do. I learned how to braid on my own hair. I don't have to go pay somebody $300, $700 to do my hair. I can do it. I may not always want to do it. It is nice to go get it done, but I understand I'm paying for a service at that point. And of course, family, friends, all that stuff, that's up to your prerogative. I work differently with that, but it's just like I treated a lot of people who were clients like that, like family and like friends. But it's like, it wasn't that I thought necessarily that's where we were. It was just like, I just wanted to help and I wanted to do a good job so she tried to play me, but I knew better. And it was to the point where it was like, nah, I'm good. Like you can't feel like you're going to miss out so bad, that you shortchange yourself to the point of death. Like you shouldn't even shortchange yourself to the point of exhaustion, but we do it. I've done it and I got tired of it, and that can make you lose your passion. That's a whole nother topic in itself, but that can stray you away from some of your purpose.
Wow, what an amazing first episode of my first podcast as we know it, live streamed at Dame Dash Studios, titled I'ma Do That, featuring my lovely guest, Micah D'vinci, the one and only. And yeah, that was such an amazing time that I had. And y'all make sure to go follow my love, Micah D'vinci, on all streaming platforms. That's at Micah D'vinci. You can find all his music everywhere. He's amazing at all he does. And please follow myself, Cadence April, on all streaming platforms. That's where you can find all my music. It's Cadence April _ on Instagram and Cadence April on TikTok. So be sure to follow me as well. And please make sure to follow our amazing collective Trip Summit. There's about 8+ people that are just incredible musicians, people, entrepreneurs. Most importantly, download America New. If you have not heard of us, make sure to download the America New Network app that is owned by Dame Dash. And this is where my podcast will also be streamed. Be sure to download it and check it out. This is also where myself, Micah D'vinci, and the Trip Summit Collective have been performing live. So we will be streaming live performances. You can check out the live archives to see the episodes that you missed. Make sure to also find us on Spotify for podcasters under As We Know It. And last but not least, make sure to download Yard Hype Radio, where you can hear your favorite reggae and dance hall sounds and more. I'll also be streaming my podcast through Yard Hype Radio as well. So thank you guys so much for watching and for joining me on this journey. It has been a long time coming. I've had this As We Know It podcast concept in my head for the past few years. Super excited, and I'll see you guys next time. Try to cool me down with you. Yeah, I'm feeling hot, and they can stand it. Crumbing out my pipe, we taking